All right, the crowd is fleshing out a little bit. I'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll jump in. Today, by the way, we're going to do a. Oh, Manvi's not here on Tuesdays. She's here on Wednesdays and Fridays, and should be here on Mondays from now on for the AMAs. Uh, that is very accurate, Simpy. Um, but unfortunately, yeah, as everyone may remember, yesterday we had to cut our AMA short. That will not be normal. That was just a scheduling issue. Most of our AMAs should be at least a solid hour. But thanks again for everyone that tuned in. So today I thought it would be fun to just pick up the next lesson in the order that we've been going through. As I've mentioned before, if anybody wants to request a lesson to do a discussion on, let me know, and we can plan for that this week. But we're going to talk about juice today, which is a subject very near and dear to my heart. Pretty much my favorite thing to do when I'm making Astrocade games. It is something to be careful about. Too much juice or juice applied too early can be bad for your game, but too little juice, I think, is even worse. And I agree, Toxic. That does remind me of Season 1 Astro Academy. Country Baller was the guy's name.
Yes, sir.
Every game he made was about spherical country flags. He was really committed to the bit.
Did he disappear?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. He
Vanished one day.
Yeah, exactly.
He became a country ball himself.
It's possible. If anyone noticed, the UN has inducted a new member state. Could be him. Probably not.
He got called for peace in the world.
All right, well, I'll just get started. These are all pretty informal, so if more people show up as we go, it should be okay. He was an ambassador, ironically, for a guy, or appropriately for a guy who was all about countries and flags. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share my screen, and we can jump into the fascinating world of juice. Okie dokie, juicing up. Gameplay you can feel. The reason this lesson is called what it's called is because even though we think of juice, for anyone that is familiar with the term, we think of juice as like polish and effects and things that make the game look more premium or more detailed. That's true in a sense, but really the purpose of juice is to make the game feel like something. Because it's pretty easy to make a game like look like something. You see things on the screen, you move a character around, whatever, and it's all kind of... the meme game is off to a great start today, everybody. I love it. Yes, I am following along with the chat. So if your goal is to distract or derail me while I'm doing the lecture, then I am a sitting duck. I'm ready for you guys to do your worst. So juice is about adding effects and polish to your game, not just to make it prettier, not just because random effects are cool, but because they're supposed to heighten the game experience. So think of an example of like haptics, right? Which is not juice, but I'm just making an example here. So your phone shakes sometimes when you get a certain kind of notification, or depending on how an app is designed, maybe if you can't move something somewhere, it uses a little bit of haptic vibration. That's an example of like feeling something. So even though you could just stop me from moving something on the screen, or you could pop up a notification, or you could even beep or something, if I actually feel it with the haptics, that's an even deeper connection, right? And that's just some stupid app. Now imagine a game. Games are supposed to be about experiences and action and movement. So it's really important that your game feels like something. So I'll break down what that means. But before I get into that, I think it'd be faster to just show you guys what I mean. So last week, we looked at this game, Balloon Buster. The purpose of this game is to be almost like a one-shot, super simple game mechanic where you just use a slingshot to break balloons. So here we go. That's it. And what we did last week is we did play testing. So I had a few of my friends here at Astrocade play this game. I recorded their audio of them playing it, and they gave me a bunch of feedback on what worked and what didn't work and how they interpreted the game, blah, blah, blah. So that's the game mechanic, right? But the whole other half of a game is like how it looks and feels and sounds, and that's where juice comes in. So I'm just going to jump to the end and show you guys, like we're on a cooking YouTube video of just here's all the ingredients dumped in, pretend it cooked in 2 seconds, and this is what you get. This is the juiced up version of Balloon Buster, right? So superficially it looks a little nicer, but it's not just about looks. It's not just about visuals, right? Like the most obvious visual change is now we have this nice background. That's great. But the most important changes are not just the visual ones. So for instance, in the original game, if I pull back the slingshot and I let it fly, like it works, It's very functional, but it feels kind of flat, right? Like the ball just moves and there's nothing special about it. So I added a bunch of little details to this version, starting with pulling the slingshot back. You'll notice that now the slingshot kind of trembles and shakes a little bit. The little trajectory line is glowing. And when I shoot the ball, notice that, or the rock, when it hits the stone shakes. Shrapnel from the rock comes off. And when the rock hits the ground, the whole screen shakes. So when I say you're feeling something, I mean that pretty literally. Like the shaking makes it seem like you're pulling back the rubber band so hard that the whole slingshot is like trembling, or maybe your arm is trembling holding it because of all the tension. When you release the tension, you want to feel like that went somewhere. So if it hits the box, or rather the block shakes, and when the rock hits the ground, the whole world shakes, and that makes me feel like these things are heavy. They have weight, right? So you can call this, yeah, and Knox has, by the way, shared a video that is kind of the origin of juice in game design, so definitely watch that video as well. A lot of what we do here in Astrocade is inspired by exactly that kind of thinking. But the purpose of all these effects is not to just to make the game prettier, it's to make this game feel like something. So this feels more like a real slingshot and a real rock and a real ground, right? So that's an example of juice. Another example, and I have a video on this that I linked to that walks you through how to do all this stuff. This is a pixel campfire that I basically one-shotted. I just told Astrocade I want a campfire on a camp background at night, right? And it looks really nice. Astrocade did a great job. The problem is this is just a picture, right? That's kind of lame. So we have a whole other video that's linked to in the lesson that is about stuff like these kinds of effects where you want fire or magic or an explosion, and the default you got from Astrocade is like not exciting enough. And so I turned it into this, which I think is a much more real, much more lifelike campfire, even though it's basically the same idea, right? So functionally, these two things are identical. They're both just a campfire. Even the background didn't change. But one of them just looks like a picture of a campfire. The other one kind of feels like a real one, even though I'm not even interacting with it. There's just enough ambient kind of detail that this feels like a real thing. And in fact, I can even kind of show you how it's built up to give you an example of what I mean. So this is just the basics. And layer by layer, fire itself is this kind of glowing particle system where these orange and white particles drift up while they're kind of shaking and glowing. And then there's embers, which is like the exact same idea, except they're like faster and cracklier, because you know when a fire is burning, there's also these little embers that rise up. Smoke is a really important part of fire, so we didn't have any smoke in this original static one, so I wanted to add this kind of blurry, slow-moving effect that kind of cools. You'll notice actually it gets most like blue colored at the top. And then the last one is I threw in just kind of a circular glow effect. So you can see this kind of like wobbling, bouncing, almost like the aura around a lantern or something, right? So the point I'm making with this is that juice is often a combination of a bunch of different things working together. And so if you go back to the balloon buster example, I didn't just add one random effect. In fact, I didn't even add 10 random effects. All the effects I added are related to each other. So pulling back this, getting the shake and the tension, getting the bounce on the block, getting the shake when it hits the ground. I forgot, by the way, there's actually little blades of grass that pop up. So check this out. You'll see little green lines. All those things are related. They're not just random effects. They all combine to make this one part of the game, which is the slingshot, feel more real, right? So that's kind of juice at a high visual level. And thank you, Pika. That is exactly right. That's a direct link to the video. But I'm going to also just quickly summarize some of the points of the lesson that tie all this together, and then we can do like a Q&A or something. So one point I tried to make is that juice is not just for the sake of being pretty, right? It's usually got to be in service of your game. So I like to call this like a juice plan, which is not just randomly adding stuff because they're cool, but making a plan ahead of time of like, what are our goals? And to me, the best goals are like the experience itself and how you make that experience like heightened, feel on a more deep level. So in the case of Balloon Buster, there's 3 things about this game that I think could use this sense of juice: tension, speed, and impact. And we just saw how all those work. So now imagine I haven't done any of this yet. I'm still planning this out. I know that I want my slingshot to feel like a real slingshot. And so that probably means, like I said, tension. Pulling it back should feel like there's almost like a challenge to it. And when you're at that peak pullback state, it should feel like there's a lot of pent up energy just ready to be released, right? And then when I do let go, that energy should make the ball fly really fast. So it's kind of corny, but like in the original game, the ball just moves. Whereas in my juiced up version, the ball leaves this like motion trail, which, you know, it's not the most realistic. It's a little bit too cartoony, but the point is it adds that sense of movement, right? And then, of course, impact. That's all the shaking and stuff, right? So, because I have this plan ahead of time, and because I'm not even thinking about effects yet, I'm actually thinking about feelings. I want to feel tension. I want to feel speed. I want to feel impact. That guides me. So, using that, this lesson basically breaks down how I turn those feelings into a list of effects, right? Tension corresponds to these effects. Speed corresponds to these effects. Impact corresponds to these effects. Now, this is just my game. Your games are going to have different needs, but it's always the same idea. So, for instance, say you're making like a fighting game, right? Where robots are punching each other or something. You're going to have some similar ones. You're probably going to want a lot of impact. When the robots punch, I want to make sure the metal is like crunching and there's sparks and shrapnel flying. But you also might want to convey weight, which isn't really something I talked about as much here. Maybe your robots are really heavy. So every time they step, they shake, or the whole screen shakes, or you can see things falling down in the background because they're so big. So that's an example of weight, right? It could even be other kinds of emotions like fear. Like maybe the final boss robot is supposed to be really scary. So not only is he powerful and all that, but like I want to like lower the lights and maybe he's just got glowing red eyes or something. The point I'm making is that even though these are all kind of cool effects, you're not doing them randomly. You're starting by saying my goals are these feelings. I want the player to feel these things, and then I decide what effects make those feelings most clear and most pronounced. What you don't want to do though is just say it's really cool when things have glowing red eyes, so all my characters have glowing red eyes, because that doesn't mean anything. That's just random, right? Or just making something glow because you think glowing looks cool. Like notice, let's go back here for a second. I made, sorry, I made the fire glow because it's fire, it's energetic, right? But if I hide that and I just show you the smoke doesn't really glow. It's got this kind of bright orange color, but I didn't put an actual glow on it. In fact, I kind of want it to look like the opposite because the fire is the bright part, and the smoke is more the kind of the moody background layer. And so that's an example of where those effects have to be chosen correctly. If I just think glowing is cool and I make the smoke glow and the logs glow and the tent glow, it's like now it's just effects for the sake of effects. And it doesn't add anything. And in fact, it might actually distract the player, right? So juice is one thing, adding effects. But the more important thing that comes before that is having this plan of like, what feelings am I going for? Which, by the way, even here I went for. Like, I wanted this to feel cozy and lifelike. And that made me think, well, then for one thing, to me, that my favorite layer here is this smoke layer because it looks so, even though it's really boxy, I just think the movement and the color looks really real to me. And so because I've got this like warm, bright smoke that diffuses and gets spread out and kind of cools down, that to me feels very real. And so even though this is the same idea, this doesn't feel cozy to me. This looks like just a picture somebody drew. Whereas this now almost kind of looks like a place, especially with that glow, like it's casting light. So anyway, I've blabbed enough. That's an overview of what juice is all about. So now you guys let me know if you have questions or observations or whatever else, and we can talk through it. I'm
You've
catching
said
up.
earlier. You've said earlier that sometimes there's too many juice, and that's not good. Do you have an example that potentially is, too much?
Do I have an example? It's a good question. I definitely don't have any examples offhand. But I guess an example of what to look for, like I mentioned, I was being a little bit exaggerating, but I imagine like if you think glowing is cool and you don't just put it on the fire, but you put it on other things that don't even necessarily make sense glowing, there's two problems with that. One is you're just going to overload the player. They're going to get bored. If you see something or hear something or whatever too often, it just loses its impact. But the other thing is it doesn't mean anything. So to me, it's not even too much quantity. It's not even like, did this person use too many effects? Because some games require a ton of effects. Who knows? The real question to be asking is more, did they choose these effects because they mean something, or did they just throw them randomly into their game because they look cool, right? So that to me is like the most obvious sign that juice is being done right or being done wrong.
Yeah, juice.
Sorry, I just want to finish my thought and then Artie makes a really good point though, which is this lesson is like creating an animation like it has stretch and squeeze. That's exactly it. And we can talk about that more in a second, but to anyone that studied animation at all, there is this sense of like building up tension and releasing it, or when something moves quickly, you stretch it out to make it look like that motion is like exaggerated. When something collides, you squash them together. These are all kind of basic ideas. You see them in animation, you see them in filmmaking, you see them in like acting lessons, and of course you see them in game design. But the effect and the purpose is the same in all cases, which is take whatever message you're trying to send and make it clearer and make it hit harder. So anyway, sorry about
So,
that. Please finish your
no, no,
thought,
no,
Max.
no. I can't raise my hand, so it's normal. Juice can be detrimental, especially if you have too much, because you're going to be camouflaging bad gameplay. So juice does not
Ooh,
necessarily mean good gameplay. It can mean
very
that you're
good point.
hiding something.
Very good
And
point.
in the previous academy, we saw that not everybody has iPhone, 42s and phenomenal mobile phones. So you have to be careful as well with juice, because Alex's example of the campfire, already not everybody could technically run this. And if you have too much of it, so if let's say you multiply that by 10, then you're gonna alienate maybe like 80% of your crowd.
That's a great point. And in fact, so this is one of the things I want to add this season. I don't know if I'll get it up this week. If not, I'm for sure going to aim for having this up next week. But this is totally unrelated, but it's a really good point, and I'm glad you reminded me, Knox. So this game in particular, I say game, this little campfire demo. Um, as Knox points out, not all you guys have iPhone 42. I heard a rumor that some of you have like an iPhone 39, which is just embarrassing, but that's life, right? I, of course, have the 42 Pro Max Ultra uh, demon, crazy, insane time travel. You guys have the time travel model. I can actually travel back in time. That's how fast my games run. Anyway, yes, sorry, Pika. I get a little caught up in the flexing sometimes. But the point that Knox made, which is a really good one, is that juice can come at a cost sometimes, and actually two costs. So you pointed out one is like it just masks bad gameplay. It's like over seasoning badly cooked food, right? If the food tastes bad, just adding seasoning doesn't make it better food. It just masks the problem, right? And
Yep.
so that's, by the way, the reason the lessons are ordered the way they are. So you may remember that last week we started this balloon game, and we did the play testing with our players in this version of the balloon game. We didn't do all this first, right? For exactly that reason, because the tension effect is kind of cool, the speed lines or whatever. Now imagine if for whatever reason one of the playtesters didn't really like the game, but because they're so caught up in like, ooh, this looks cool or that looks cool, they're not really giving me the same kind of feedback. Whereas a game like this, because I put no effort into the visuals, if they don't like hitting balloons with a rock, they're going to know that immediately because there's nothing distracting them. So that's a great point. And then the other point about performance. This campfire game is not in any way designed to run optimally, right? And unfortunately, we're still kind of in an awkward phase. This is changing gradually, but we're not done with it yet, where Astro will still sometimes write code that totally works, but that does not work optimally. So it might function on a bunch of different phones, but some of them it might function very slowly. And unfortunately, that can be hard to tell if you're like me and you've got the iPhone 42 Ultra Pro Max Demon Time Travel Edition. Everyone else is going to be getting a different experience, and I may fool myself into thinking it runs great on everybody's phone. So the thing that I mentioned I'd love to have this week, probably more like next week, is kind of an extra lesson that then says, okay, you've done all this great juice, but now how can you diagnose performance issues and make it run faster? Because even though this actual instance of the campfire is not very optimal, it's possible to make this look basically identical and run great on everybody's phone. The problem is it's just extra work to get there. So that's kind of a separate lesson, but we also definitely want to make sure you guys understand how to do that. Anyway, both really good points. Thanks, Knox. Let's see, Jaeger says, not all juice has to be epic visuals. Small details can work well, also, if tuned well. That is an excellent point. I completely... I can't... I'm losing my mind how far Boyf Reddy is taking this dangerous misinformation meme, but I strongly encourage it. To me, memes only get funny when they've been done to death. That's the point at which it becomes amusing to me, so keep it going. Okay, anyway, Jaeger's point though, not all juice has to be epic visuals. Great point. So this is a kind of an example of throwing a bunch of different effects at one thing. Most things should not be juiced up quite this far. I think a better example is something like this, because a lot of these effects are really simple. Like to me, the trembling, shaking on the slingshot is one of my favorite examples of juice, because you might not even notice it. It's possible some people will miss it altogether. It's pretty subtle. But if you do notice it, I think it adds a lot. And also, I'm being a little bit, I'm inventing my own human psychology here, but I suspect this is true. I think it's possible that even people who don't notice it, they still notice it on subconscious level. They kind of feel it. They kind of pick up on it. And so I think often subtle juice is the best way to go. Also, I guarantee you this shaking effect does not have any sort of runtime optimization issues. This will run fine on everybody's phone, right? So definitely start with the subtle stuff and only go crazy with like glowing and particle effects and explosions when that's really what you need. But don't just make that your first step for making any game better. Like if you're making a cooking game, probably you don't need to add explosions. I mean, depending on how the cooking game works. So you probably can start with simple stuff. Like if I cook something, maybe I have a subtle steam effect when the food is hot. That's going to go a lot further than putting glows on everything, right? Toxic makes a good point, which is the trembling effect is so realistic in my slingshot demo that he's actually feeling muscle pains. So mission accomplished, right?
Yes, sir.
Get buff, play games.
Exactly. I can't promise you guys that this slingshot game will transform your physique in just 6 to 12 weeks, but I can't say that it won't do that either. So it's worth a shot. All right, so that's Juice. Before we move on, any other questions or thoughts? Exactly. Any other questions or thoughts on this topic of Juice? It is a big topic. What we've covered today is just the beginning. We're just trying to give you guys some basic instincts for how Juice should work. As always, I do recommend you take a few minutes. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes to read through the lesson. It's really simple stuff. But it will give you some good thoughts on how to like structure your planning for Juice. Pika's asking, should we play Academy games that we got last night? Sorry, what does that mean? What did we get last night? Are we just talking about everyone sharing their links yesterday or what? Because that, by the way, is a good idea. We need to prioritize students. I am so bad at following my own rules. Check the group. Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm catching up on some DMs. Everyone did a very good job of sharing the links to their class project games. Keep them coming if you haven't yet, everybody. But I got a bunch of them yesterday, which is great. Okie dokie. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the animation. It looks cool, but it's not very accurate to our logo. I love the pixel art style. I like the kind of animated gleam, but I think we need to clean up some of the edges on that to make it a true pixel art Astrocade logo. Sorry, Pika P. I'm breaking the fourth wall. I'm giving away company secrets, but Pika P, are you saying you sent 3 games in? I don't see them.
I think they're in the Academy chat, right?
Oh, the Academy chat. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I'm not giving away secrets, even though it sounded like I was.
So it looks like we have Mimoko. We have Tuan Teku.
Ponteku, yeah.
And that's the only 2 I see.
Yeah. Well, so Pika either way makes a very good point, which is the whole plan was let's prioritize students from Astro Academy for obvious reasons. We've done a horrible job of sticking to that. We are working on it, everybody. But yeah, why don't we start with this? Do we have any Astro Academy games that we know are from students? And then we can go back to the queue. So maybe the 2 that we started with.
I mean, RD? Maybe the third one? I mean, Johan, Erica, you guys are experts. Ardeen, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say that most people are showing up for Academy here, and I think that anybody else that's here to share off their games that's not part of Academy, we should probably hold off on those because we need to prioritize these guys and make sure that they're getting the attention because they came here to learn for the Academy. So we need to really prioritize them.
You're completely right, Toxic. And just for the record, we will, with whatever time we've got, of course, get to non-Academy students. It's just a question of ordering. So how about this? Let me jump in with Mimoko's game. This is Ama's Runes, and I believe this is one of our fancy new LLM games. By the way, if everyone is not aware of this, everybody now has access to making wishes for LLM AI chat in your games. So it's something I encourage everybody to play around with. It is trickier than you think. I don't mean technically. I don't mean like actually making the wish. I just mean making an interesting game around LLM chat is harder than you might think. So don't expect it to necessarily be like effortless, put some thought into it, but I do encourage everyone to try because it's a very cool and very different kind of game experience. Okie dokie. Let's start with. Oh, B Little asks, how do I feel about you being in all 3 seasons? I'll say my feelings are complicated. How about that? I have very complicated feelings about that. No, I kid. I want everyone to attend as much as they want. We do, of course, as Toxic's reminding us, have to prioritize new students. But I think it's great. There's a couple reasons to keep attending. One is it's excellent, I think, when previous students are around to help new students. Like you've got people like Toxic who just kind of mentors everybody, who's kind of like, faculty level. Toxic's basically a teacher, Professor Toxic. Maybe we'll work on the name a little bit, but something like that. Everybody should feel encouraged to pitch in and help. If there's like a new student who's got questions and you've done this before, by all means, share what you've learned. I think that's great. We're trying to make Astro Academy as much of a kind of a crowd-sourced thing as possible. And the reason for that is, as a company, we want to invest in our creators. It's really important to us. But there's only so much we can do as like a finite number of people. But if different students from previous seasons help new students from new seasons, then it becomes much easier for everybody to learn. So, long way of saying, please speak up if you know something and other people are asking questions. Okay, let's get back to the playtesting. This is Ama's Runes by Mimoko. Select your language. This is a little tricky for me. I believe this is an LLM game, so there may be a good reason for this. I always kind of encourage people to just go with the default language, maybe have a flag in the corner or something. The only reason I say that is because any kind of friction up front tends to potentially lower the chances people will play your game, but this is probably no big deal, so I don't want to make you too paranoid. Anyway, welcome, traveler. I am Ama, keeper of the ancient runes. Sit with me a while and let the wisdom of the stones illuminate your path. Begin your reading. Okay, before we begin, tell me a little about yourself. I am going to be Dr. Toxic. Why not?
Go.
Dr. Toxic, what concerns bring you to me today? I worry I shouldn't have majored in the field of toxicity. Let's see. I hear your hesitation, Dr. Toxic, and the runes before me speak of abundance, stillness, and resilience. Should I pronounce this? Okay. Fihu reminds us that abundance can come in many forms. Isa invites patience, and Nauthes speaks to the strength that arises from necessity. What draws you to the study of toxicity, and what do you feel is missing from that path that leads you to wonder if it was the right choice? Oh, just the whole, I cannot type today, toxic thing. Seems a bit sus. Let's see what Ama thinks about this. I've invoked Algiz for protection, Ansuz for truthful insight, and Jera for growth and harvest. Dr. Toxic, what hidden truths do you feel are kept quiet in your work? All right, here's my feedback. This does appear to be LLM based, which is great, but I just feel like the text still feels like a template. I don't feel like I'm getting enough of like unique response to what I'm saying. I'm trying to throw kind of silly stuff at it. The game looks amazing. The polish and the vibe is incredible. This looks really professional. But I want to get a little bit more content and substance out of the text. Let me really mess with it and see what happens. Toxic, what's something silly I can say to try to really like get like a response out of this LLM character?
I'm making different experiments and finding that with text normally has many problems to develop when it's complex histories or when it's complex with with more than one character. I have tried to develop one story with about friends because the other day it was high quality who inspired about the friends that we have on live, and I try to make that story, and
Okay.
it's not properly working. And also I'm noticed that the same question or the same game played in Spanish and in English has a very different charge of tokens, maybe because
Mm.
in Spanish it's like a cutted or answer are just in the air, not
Mm.
ended. So maybe it's a question of tokens.
That's such an interesting idea. So, by the way, thanks for joining us. It's great to hear from the creator. Anytime we're reviewing a game, by the way, you are welcome to join. You're welcome to join and share your thoughts. So, it sounds like you're saying that. Can you give us a little bit more about the kind of challenge? Because I kind of get the idea of what you're saying, but talk a little bit more about the challenges you're running into using LLMs.
Okay, I have posted
Uh-huh.
in the channel in the showcase channel. When I was filming the travels, I was just writing my impressions, and I'm trying with different language model games, not a 3D game with the
Hmm.
implemented LLM, but language. And
Yeah.
in language, I'm making different experiments. Some other more interesting than others.
Yeah.
Like for example, this is not working very nice, but can be interesting. And also some other more centered. I don't know, when you give a more solid frame,
Hmm.
can develop more in a more interesting way. So it's possible to make some educative contents, like educative games,
Mm.
which is because it's more accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry for my very bad English.
No, no, no. Your English is great. This is
Like this.
muy bonito inglés.
Ay,
Um,
muchas gracias.
what I love about this though is that you're actually experimenting. Like I'm playing your game here, and I guess this is almost kind of like a life simulator, where I guess you interact with different LLM characters at like different stages of your life. Like it says childhood, age 5. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is
But
cool.
there is some moments that it enters like in a loop.
Yeah.
That is like your friend, you are answering your friend, and in some moments it's like entering a loop, and she's playing in the park, and she's throwing in the. It's like, okay, we passed this moment, but it's or also lose the questions or lose the narrative. Also, will be very, very interesting if can generate, but I understood that is fast generated stories, so it's not easy to develop that. But if can generate some images, will be much more interesting. This I made another sarcastic cut try, and on that point can associate. I tell the Astro the AI, please don't tell me in text what the cat is making. Don't tell poor, don't take this. Just use a poor sound or just use an image, and
Yeah.
it does. But it's very simple.
Yeah, so there's a couple points to make about this, and this is for everyone that's making LLM games. One is sadly the LLM is currently just designed for text. That's all it does right now. There are a lot of reasons for that. One of the main reasons is just cost. Enabling this feature for everybody is potentially extremely costly, so we have to be efficient about which models we enable. The other issue is that, and this is where you got to be careful how you design your game. I think LLMs are great, provided you basically tell them what you want. But if you let the LLM drive the game itself, you can get into trouble. So what I mean by that is, say you're making this game about like milestones in life, and you may already be doing this, but just to be clear, it's usually important to say that the game itself is like a traditional game. There's no AI, there's no LLM. But then when you need someone to say something, you can give the LLM an update on where the player is, and they will provide dialogue that reflects that. But ultimately, you don't really want the LLM to be directly driving the progress of the game, because then you can get into those kind of, you mentioned like getting stuck in loops and stuff. So the LLMs are pretty reliable if you give them clear guidance. But if the LLM becomes the driver of the game itself, that's where things can get a little bit dicier. So it's really good for a few things. It's good for generating text, generating dialogue like you're doing here. You can also use an LLM to kind of make decisions, right? So you can, it doesn't have to be something the player sees. You can just tell the LLM, here's the status of the game. Should the character do A, B, or C? And you can ask the LLM to just respond with B or something, and then say, depending on what response you get, do this. So it's like AI driven behavior, but not in a way that is directly printing text that the user can read. You got to be careful. You have to use that stuff relatively sparingly. But if you do that at like a few key points in your game, it can be a really cool additional level of like reality and depth. But you've got to be
Yeah,
careful with that.
yeah,
I
for
know this is a
sure.
big topic, and this is something we can talk a little bit more about offline. But I just want to throw out those kind of basic ideas for anyone that's playing with LLM
Yeah,
games.
which
One
is
question
very
on
nice. I think when you give a history, AI can add some vivid elements and some more interactive elements, but you have to give the
Uh,
frame of a history, otherwise it's
yeah.
lost.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly right. So how about this though, Mimoko? Because I know this is your first time in Astro Academy, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's great that you're playing with LLM games, and we definitely want all of you guys to keep playing with that. Please share those games. I probably wouldn't recommend that as your official Astro Academy game. And the reason I say that is just because there's so much that we're trying to impart and teach to everybody in Astro Academy that we hope to see you demonstrate in your games, that also juggling all the complexities of like an LLM is probably just going to make things just unnecessarily difficult, right? I mean, if you want to make a game and then maybe throw in a little LLM kind of gimmick or detail, that's probably okay. But I would advise, and for everybody, not just you, Mimoko, to make a game for Astro Academy, you're probably better off making a more traditional game and then experimenting with LLMs outside of it. That's just my
Okay.
advice.
No, but this was not my Astro Academy
Okay, cool.
game.
Just wanted to make sure.
That I sent for Pika, and
Yes.
it's another. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing. And it is good to see what you're experimenting with. I think your ideas are really cool. So, yeah, continue to keep us posted and let us know if you run into more issues. We can try to help out with
Oh,
that.
thank you.
All right. Toxic Pika, since I am paying very little attention to anything, which is my usual vibe, who do you guys recommend we do next?
well, we just did Momoko's. What's the next one in Academy?
Yes.
Have
Alex, can I ask you something?
Oh, hey, Nazmal. How's it going? Yes, please go for it.
Yeah,
we
it's
have
good.
Twan's
Um,
World War II Sniper 3D.
Well, Nazmal barged up on the stage. Nobody can stop him. He's an unstoppable juggernaut, and now we're answering his questions. Let us hear it, Nazmal.
okay, so for Astro Academy, as we are making games, like,
Yep.
is there any reward other than certificate?
There will be the certificate, and ooh, that's a good question. So last time, the way we did it was we gave animation access to people that didn't have it. Monvi can confirm this because it's technically more of a community thing. Well, okay, so actually, let me back it up. So first of all, because we have way more students than last time, the way it's going to work now, and we'll have more details maybe by the end of the week on the exact details of this, is we just physically can't send graduation packages to everybody. There's like more than 50 students, and we're going to keep doing this. So this is going to become just totally impractical. So the way we're going to do it is probably pick the top 10 games, which we'll kind of judge it sort of game jam style. And it may not be 10. I can confirm the exact number, but it may be the top 10, top 12, top 8, whatever it is. Call it the top 10 games. Those will get the full graduation pack, which is the Astro Academy t-shirt, a printed diploma, stickers, and a couple other cute little kind of pack-in goodies. We may be able to send physical diplomas to everybody. That I'll have to also confirm. But it's probably going to be only the top 10 games that get the full package. So that's one thing. The other thing is, and this differs from person to person because some of you guys have access to stuff that other people don't, but I believe last time around, people who graduated Astro Academy got the animation access, which not everybody has, and it was at least a step towards being included in the creator economy. That may also be something that we can offer, but the creator economy has its own requirements, so I need to double check that Astro Academy can maybe replace those requirements. So how about this? I've made a note. That's a very good question. I've been meaning to confirm this for you guys, but let me do my best to get back to you guys officially by the end of the week. Anyway, the reason I'm thinking out loud is it's going to be something like that. It's a combination of like a really cool physical graduation package and access to various programs and APIs like animation and stuff.
And we need to submit the game within next week, or
Yeah,
later?
so the class officially ends next Wednesday, although I like to kind of go on for a couple extra days because we have the rest of the week anyway. And then we're going to call Wednesday kind of the end of the class, but you've at least got until Friday to get your game wrapped up.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. It is true. Graduates are earning up to 4K from their games. There are certain people out there that are using what they've learned in Astro Academy to make real money. Is it 4K? Maybe it's 3K. I don't know.
I think it was 3.5K. But
Something
I'm sure
like
Erica will
Yeah.
correct us here. But yeah, the other thing that you're going to be getting out of Astro Academy is like Pika's saying, you're going to get that extra knowledge. You're going to get, it's free. So it's only your time that you're donating for this. So I would say that the biggest thing that you're going to be getting out of this is the ability to create better games, juicier games, and kind of understand what the players are going to want out of you. So there's that on top of everything else.
What I think Toxic is trying to say is that maybe Astro Academy was just the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, you're right. You hit it right on the head.
All right, so let's keep it moving. I keep saying we're trying to turn over a new leaf and get through games faster, and every time I say that, I think I spend even more time per game than the last time. I think I'm actually going in the wrong direction. Nox is in mercenary mode today, but you know what? I think I triggered that. I think that's on me. Okay, we're gonna do Kwanteku's game, right? And
Yeah.
by the way, Kwanteku, I can't even imagine how much I'm butchering your name, so please let me know how to pronounce it. I'll do my best. People that have been with us for a while may remember the origin story with Nox. I think I was calling him NOX for, I don't know, 2.5 years.
Nosh. It was Nosh.
Before
I still
finally
remember. I'm still scarred.
So just if a guy with 3 letters, one of which is a number, it cannot get pronounced correctly, you all have horrible odds. But just be aware that it's nothing personal. Sorry, we don't have a system. Somebody was supposed to send me a game. I keep asking for it, but I don't tell them how to send it to me, which really puts everyone else in an awkward spot. So who are we doing next, guys?
I got you. Here you go. Straight to DMs.
Thank you, Toxic.
Yeah.
And I am familiar with this game. It's very cool, but I have not shown it during Astro Academy, so let's do it. World War II Sniper 3D. And as you can see,
It's hot.
rumor has it this game is hot.
It's weird. On your screen, it says he has 1.8K plays. On my screen, it says he has 1.4K plays.
He's growing.
Uh-oh. A counting scandal. We're cooking the books, everybody. All right. World War II Sniper, Urban Warfare, Europe, 1944. I'm going to give you my usual stock advice here is I would cut or at least severely minimize the screen. I think these options are all great. I just don't think it should be the first thing the player sees. I would move language into like a hamburger menu kind of thing. Day Assault and Night Ops, this sounds exciting. It sounds very cool that there are these choices I can make. But again, I wouldn't make it the first decision the player makes. And then honestly, I mean, tutorial text is usually not super helpful, but this is just very tiny. So I would find another way to share this information. There's nothing wrong with this information. I just think it would be presented in a way that's a little bit less confusing to a new player. And I don't think Twantiku is here, but I will do a quick run through just in case, because there are going to be some lessons that other people might benefit from. So like I said, first things first, I would make this a much lighter or maybe even non-existent title screen and drop me right into the action. Because look how much cool stuff is waiting. This should be the first thing a player sees, or at least almost the first thing. I mean, this is too cool not to start here, in my opinion. Okay, so we've got this very impressive, very elaborate World War II themed 3D game. But again, you know, as much as I love what I'm seeing, there is a lot going on this screen. And for, you know, a kind of a casual game vibe like Astrocade, it's not that this is bad, it's just there might be too much at once. So my other advice is if you were making the kind of game where there's a lot of stuff in the interface, you're showing the player a lot of information, it's ideal, I think, to find ways to show it to them one step at a time, right? Don't show all of this at once. Maybe start with this, sorry, let me escape here. Maybe start with this up here, basic training, sprint, drill, hold, shift, and move. Like maybe this can be in the center of the screen, and you can use this to kind of guide my focus as the player, instead of hoping that I'm lost. Instead of hoping that I'll figure everything else out while I go, because you usually don't want to assume that about the player. Assume they're like me, and they just cannot pay attention. So show me one thing at a time and put it right in my face. That's my advice. Anyway, I believe I need to talk to Captain Hayes. I'm going to walk up to this guy. It says, I think it said press E, but there's so much on the screen, I'm not sure there is a reminder to press E. but sure enough, pressing E works. Dialogue appears, which is cool, but it's very, very tiny. So I can't really zoom in because my mouse is being used. But my advice is simplify this stuff. And when you do show text, make it a little bit bigger, because especially not everyone's got the new iPhone 42 Pro Max Ultra Demon Time Travel Edition. Their screens will not be as big as you may be assuming. To review best
Something that I
across a
noticed
bunch of
too,
different
the
phones
UI
and
at the top of the
devices.
screen is really large, covers a lot of the screen. The gun itself is kind of blurred. It has this gray color, like, tint to it, so it kind of doesn't match the rest of the art style. So I think maybe they have some kind of overlay or tinting going on that. I think that the UI at the bottom of the screen needs to be nestled closely to the bottom of the screen as well, so it's not partially up. Love the UI on the overhead map. I think that's cool in the mini map.
Yeah,
Got some
I
smoke
agree
effects
with.
going on.
Oh, sorry, Tox.
No, you're good.
I think I cut off your
slow it
last
down.
What was that last detail?
The last detail was we got shadows, we got smoke, we got a little bit of visual juice going on.
Yeah, exactly. This game has a lot going for it. To me, and it's the same feedback I had last time, is just find ways to make the game look and feel a little bit more approachable if you're brand new. If this is a game I've been playing for a while, I may already know what all this stuff means and it's fine. But if I'm a new player, I've got what I think down here, this is like a quest, and I think up here I've got some stats, player armor, gun, SFX. I believe this is just a game setting. It says gun SFX. If so, I would get rid of this. Sorry?
It's a debug thing, right?
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. It could be that. It's either a game setting or it's for the developer. And if it's for the developer, I assume this will go away. But just to kind of be clear, I've got that, and then down here I've got the same thing. I've got this this rotated toggle. It looks like slow off. So these are the kind of things where, assuming these are actual game settings, just put them in a settings menu. Stuff like this number up here, it's actually not even super clear what this is at first. And the reason for that is not because it couldn't be clear. It's just because as a first-time player, I haven't really been guided through any of it yet. But considering how much work has been put into this super well-realized World War II kind of urban environment, I don't want the player to miss that. So I would say reduce the complexity of the UI, show me one thing at a time, get me to do something with it. Like if it's a quest, show me the quest menu, make me complete a quest, and then move on to the rest of the UI. But don't add something new until you know for a fact the player has done something with the first thing that you showed them, because that's how we learn best. We learn best by doing, right? So I would suggest doing all that, because the underlying game is awesome. This is so cool that I don't want to miss my chance to appreciate this because I was overwhelmed by the UI and said, screw it, I'll play something else.
I want to say that in 3D, juice serves a different purpose than in 2D. In 3D, juice accentuates where you want the player to look. So if juice is everywhere, the player is not going to know where exactly he needs to go.
That is a great point. Very, very good point. I would actually argue that applies in both, but I think you're right. It's especially applicable in 3D, because in 3D, not only is a player looking at just the stuff on their screen, but they're effectively imagining they're looking into an entire world. That can be a lot of detail to make sense of. So I very much agree that when you're using things like juice, use them wisely in a way that guides where the player is focusing, instead of giving them 10 cool different things to look at the same time. Let's see. Okay. Any thoughts on who to play next?
We still have one in Academy chat. Let me see. Johan?
Is it Alchemic Adventure?
That it is.
Okay, I got that link. I will just do it myself. By the way, is Ardian in Astro Academy? Let us know, Ardian. I've seen you in a few of these, and I want to make sure we get to you if you're a student. And if you're not a student, what are you doing with your life, Ardian?
Hanging out.
Okay, it's a fair answer. It's a very fair answer. Okay, let's do this, and maybe we'll do Ardian's next, because I think Ardian came next anyway on the list. Alchemic Adventure by Johan Gray. Johan Gray, by the way, first-time Astro Academy student, but long-time Astro creator. Okay, Astra's Alchemic Adventure. Explore a magical world, collect rare ingredients, and brew experimental potions for your brave AI. Oh, it's another LLM game. Okay, let's see what we got. Wow, look at this. We are in 3D yet again. I will be honest, I don't love this down here. The reason this is better than it being all up front, because I can always look down at it. And this isn't the end of the world, but the reason I'm still not a huge fan of this is because we've got all these different things. We have move, jump, look around. That's the basics. But then we have like mine and collect, open, cauldron, and inventory and tab. Those are like unique to this game, right? Like pretty much every game does WASD space and all that. But this game in particular has like a mining and collecting mechanism. So my advice is, instead of putting it all in this box in the corner, which by the way takes up space, maybe you can, first of all, you can maybe assume that the player knows how to move. If you don't want to assume that, maybe just give them a very quick thing that pops up saying WASD to move, and then it fades away, because most players will figure that out. But then what you might want to do is, when I get close to something I can collect, that's when you first pop up the click to mine, collect, or whatever, right? Because rather than just having it as a reference in the corner, show it to me when it's time to put that skill to use, and I'm much more likely to remember it. So it's not a big change. I would just say anything you're tempted to just put in a list, break that list up and show it to me one step at a time. But this game looks very cool. It's got a Minecraft kind of look to it, which I like. Let's see.
This is what I meant about 3D. Like the little cauldron is like bubbling, and there's a bunch of stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, I gotta go there. Clearly, my first
Exactly.
step.
That's a great.
And I agree with Toxic 2D and 3D might be Juice works in similar ways. You just gotta be a little bit more careful in 3D. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, but that's a great example, Nox. So like, for instance, there's different stuff in this game world. There's trees, there's grass, there's whatever. But clearly, because I can see this from the instructions, this cauldron is sort of the center of the game. Maybe not the whole game, but it's one of the main elements of the game, obviously, right? So the fact that the cauldron has this glow and these rising bubbles and all this stuff is not just beautification. It's not just making the game prettier. It's helping me focus on the thing that is important. So that's a great point. Juice is what's up?
Sorry.
Go for it, please.
I was going to say, I wanted to point out something that I'm seeing on the screen that I see in a lot of my games. I see it in 2D games and I see it in 3D games. When you're moving back and forth, you'll notice at the top of that cauldron, it's kind of shaking or giving this odd visual. Can you move back and forth, like forward and back?
Sorry, I'm in the middle of transforming.
Whoa.
Can't you see I'm busy?
I do. You are a fairy. So anyways, on the top of that, you see how it's kind of freaking out on the top there of the cauldron?
Yes,
It's called Z fighting. And what happens is you have two things that are at the exact same Z depth level. And so they're actually literally fighting with each other to be seen by the player. And so all you have to simply do is let it know that, it's Z fighting with itself. And generally it'll always fix that. And I see this in a ton of games, not just 3D, but in 2D. Anytime you layer objects and they happen to share the same layer, you're going to get this issue here. And it's real simple to fix. Just simply tell it that it's Z fighting. And Astro should be able to take care of that.
Actually, I'm sorry to correct you, but there's technically two ways to solve it, one of which is much easier. One solution is what you said, just tell it to stop Z fighting. The other one is to DM you and say that's what it's supposed to look like, it's intentional. That's even simpler fix.
It's a feature.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking about Z fighting, ironically kind of demonstrating the idea of Z fighting because we had a conversation on top of the other conversation and they were fighting with each other. But here's what I would have said if we weren't talking about Z fighting. I would have said, oh my God, I just turned into like a winged fairy creature. This game is amazing. Because you'll notice all I did was like mix a random potion and it transformed me. So whatever this game is doing, it's really, really, really cool. This game has like legit magic, kind of exploration in it. But I have 2 points of feedback. The first is, it looks like some big block of LLM text appeared. I didn't have a chance to read it because Toxic and I were Z-fighting, but whatever that was, I didn't get the vibe that was the most user-friendly experience. It was like a lot of text. It looked like it was kind of clipped. So I think the idea of there being like LLM text based on whatever potion you make is great, but I would ask the LLM to make it much shorter and just give it like a cleaner, shorter presentation. Like maybe make the reader read 1 or 2 things. Because even if you want to read some stuff, you're probably excited to play the game. You don't want to read too much. And remember, I know it's easy to forget this, but not all of our players speak English or speak English as a first language. So it's fine to have some text in your game, but if you put like a whole screen of text, there could be an entire category of player that is just totally left out of that. So just try to be mindful of it. And then the other point that I was going to make, which is a little bit more fundamental, is I love how much stuff is clearly possible in this game. I'm really excited to explore it. The problem is, and maybe I missed something, but it's not clear to me what the point of the game is. Like, I feel like an objective that just hits me over the head as soon as the game starts, like go do this, then go do that, would really tie this game together. Because there's so many amazing possibilities. Like, just look at all this stuff I can do. That's great. But I think as a new player, I'm going to wander around a little bit. Maybe I'll give myself wings, which is cool, but I may lose interest because I just don't know what to do. So my advice would be just give this game a little bit more of a focused perspective, but you've got an awesome foundation to build on. I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Can you talk to the witch and ask her what to do next? Because
Can
this is
I
an
mean,
LLM game, right?
honestly, I don't know if I know how to stop flying. Like,
Oh,
wait a second. What is that at the bottom? Click to open cauldron. Okay, yeah, I'd work on that text. There's some very, very gray text.
oh, you can't
let's
talk to
see.
Astro. Never mind. Never mind.
No, well, I should be able to, but how do I?
And no,
How do I?
Johan says no in the chat.
Okay, okay. But that's exactly what I mean. Like, you're actually raising another good point, Knox. Like, am I supposed to be talking to this character? Do I need to? Do I not need to? Like, these are the things where users could be a little bit confused. So this is where a little bit of hand-holding would be really, really helpful, I think. But I love what you've built here. I can already tell how much like cool flexibility is in this game. And just, I mean, look at this. You can just kind of explore an open world and you can mix potions. Like that's such a cool foundation. Now I would just build some structure around it so players feel like they're going somewhere and they're not just wandering. But I love it. Please share as you develop this further. All right. I was suggesting we do Ardian's game next. So unless anyone else has any objectives, let's do it.
Is he
Do it.
still here? Are you still in the chat?
Yes.
Saying he
Ardian.
had to go. Oh, there he is.
Oh.
Cool.
All right,
Okay.
go for
Do
it.
it. Whoops, it's not a URL. Okay, this is Blocky Bullet Blitz Quadra Kill by Ardian. I'm just adding this to the
Excitement
title.
already.
All right. Usual feedback. I would probably find another way to do this because I feel like dual core grindhouse, like whatever this is, I think it's cleverly written. It's not going to make a lot of sense to a new player. My advice is drop me right into something basic and then surface these options later. But wow. See, again, this is why guys skip the title screens because you have such great games. Don't give the player any chance to miss out on this. This is so cool already. I love this. I got eliminated because I was just gawking at the visuals when I should have been strategizing. So I guess this is team-based. I guess the blue guys are my team. But man, this is off to a great start. This has got like a cool retro FPS kind of vibe. Okay, can I kill that guy? Wow, I killed easily. But I think I got a headshot, so that was encouraging me to keep trying. This is very fast, very responsive. Now again, I'm on a MacBook 47 Ultra Time Travel Demon Edition, so my experience may not be. Ooh, that was cool. My experience may not be indicative, but it seems to run pretty well for me. Something I'm noticing, just random feedback, is it is easy to die in this game. It's kind of easy to kill players, which is fun, but it's also, I seem like I die very fast. Maybe I'm just a noob, probably that, but it might be a little frustrating to people. Like, even though I just murked like 5 guys, I also got killed in 2 seconds.
Can you press 1, 2, and 3? I'm seeing different weapons at the bottom. There you go.
Ooh, awesome. By the way, talk about juice. Look at this. Shoot the gun, got the muzzle flash, the hand kind of bounces back, you get the recoil, kickback effect, smoke rises up. I think, by the way, one minor note, the smoke rises way too quickly, unless that's supposed to be the shell. But I think it's like a puff of smoke. Everything else about this is great, though. Look at the juice. Look at this.
Can you press E as well? There
Oh,
you
is
go.
that zooming in on the sniper rifle or what?
Like a dash.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is a dash.
A lot
Hey,
of
you got
thought
some
went-
Z fighting. Careful, you got some Z fighting going on over there.
This whole arena is Z fighting.
So is it like team-based game? Like you're on a team?
Yeah, it's
Okay, 5v5 or something.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
you know, I mean, again, I feel like I die a little too fast, but the AI is like doing something. I see players killing each other.
I would play multiplayer this if that exists. That was a thing.
Well,
Needs to be a
technically, you
thing.
can make multiplayer games. There's a tutorial, and ooh, look at that! There's a tutorial on how to make multiplayer games. If anyone's interested, it's still rough. You're kind of doing it on your own. Although, here's some secret inside information that I probably shouldn't be telling you guys, but because Astro Academy is so dear me, I'm going to break protocol. We may be working on some legit multiplayer. I'm not making an official promise, but it may
Well,
be on
sure
its
as
way
we've
soon,
talked
I
about a
think.
lot, so I'm
In which case-
definitely looking forward to that.
Well, yeah, and it shouldn't come as a huge surprise because a lot of you guys requested that in the survey, and we do take those surveys really seriously.
I feel like your character walks slower than your buddies
That's
or
a
the enemies.
possibility. Yeah, yeah. So this is a game that has such a clear genre. It's like a team capture the flag, whatever kind of FPS that, I'm not sure how much direct feedback I'll have because you're clearly following like a very well-known template, which is good. That's what players want. My Astro Academy style feedback, like I said, really reduced the friction to get me in the game. I think just in terms of balance and difficulty, it does seem like it's a little bit too easy to die. But everything else is good. I love that you've already got a ton of great juice. Even like the fog is kind of cool. I know it's just a standard 3D engine thing, but it adds a little bit of ambience. Yes, there's some Z fighting. Z fighting in addition to all the real fighting. This game is just all about different kinds of fighting. I like little details like you kind of got the updates in the corner of like multiplayer, so-and-so died, so-and-so respawned. That's all cool. And I love that. I've been seeing so much of this, but I love the scanline effect. Knox, I think you started this, and I think you're the reason it's everywhere now.
My fault.
But it's really cool. It heightens the retro vibe a lot.
No, it's great.
Toxic, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts here?
My thoughts is the environment is extremely simple, but at the same time, it's really effective. I love the color palette.
Yeah.
I love the movement of your character when you're moving around. I also love the positioning of your UI elements. They're all at the bottom, not interfering with the screen. They're all nestled at the top as well. I don't know if you really need that tutorial text at the top, but
I agree.
but I do think that this looks very visually pleasing. I like the concept. I think your AI actually works really well. They're actually moving around
Yes.
corners and stuff. That's
I
actually
agree.
not that easy of a thing to get done.
100%.
So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. It just needs a little bit more refinement. I think the UI could actually be prettier, but you're also going for that like battle bit style, which is kind of like the link or the picture I just posted. And so maybe you don't need to worry about actually changing your UI because I think it's kind of fitting to the art style of your game.
Yep, that's all really, really good feedback. I agree with that. Cool. Yeah. So, oh, and I had one other point. Oh, right. So a couple other Astro Academy lessons. Just make sure you've done download profiling on this because I don't see anything too crazy. I think your game should be able to run great even without downloading these textures. But just make sure that there's no delays to get your game started on slow internet connections. And then the other one that's a little bit tougher to test, we still don't have a really good answer, but if you can either get access to an older phone or some browsers let you simulate slower CPUs, just see how this is running on older devices. Like if it's someone's got a phone from 5, maybe even 10 years ago, which is not out of the question, those are out there. It's good to know, is this game going to run on that or is it going to choke? That's the last thing I think I would suggest.
I would recommend really quickly that you start in the match and you just press jump in and then you start shooting. And
I love it. Exactly.
And if you're not using the editor either, maybe that's something you want to start considering so you can balance out and start doing more fancy things with your map.
Exactly. Yep.
right.
I'm gonna go rogue. I'm gonna grab one myself. This is another Mimoko game. The reason I'm playing this is Mimoko shared her LLM game earlier, but she is also a first-time student. So I believe, Toxic, am I correct? Pika, is this her actual or one of her presented official Astro Academy games?
Yes, the Kawaii Monster Club is her actual. I think this is actually her size scale and her academy game.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So, by the way, this came up yesterday to the AMA. Some of you crazy hackers are slipping in these animated GIF thumbnails. And every time you do, we as the company, we shake our fists at the sky and say, "Oh!" But we can't stop you yet. We're just kind of letting this experiment go and see how it goes. If you want to experiment with GIF thumbnails, I say go for it. Just don't get too attached because, as we mentioned yesterday, if we decide this is just weighing down the UI and making AstroCade harder to browse, we may have a rule about it. We don't currently, but just keep in mind. This, I think, is very cute. This is a very fun animated thumbnail. All right, let's see what we got. Kawaii Monster Club. Match monsters and throw a party. That's what I was hoping I would have to do. Wait, is this a slingshot game? Perfect. Perfect serendipity. Okay, drag down on the monster and aim. Let's see what happens.
Well, the first thing you need to change, Mimoko, is you're going to need to get that nice shake with the slingshot.
Please.
What the? I've never seen that on here.
This is ridiculous, and I love it. I mean ridiculous as a compliment. This is my favorite kind of ridiculous. All right. I got some immediate thoughts. First, I will say this. You have put a lot of thought into the juice, which is great. So I feel like your actual slingshot motion is really, really smart. You've done that well. But I do have some critiques here. Let me start this over. So I'm very intrigued by the game. It's super cute. I love the style. I love the visuals. But here's my problem. This is overwhelming. If I'm a new user, and I am, so you're getting an unbiased new user experience, there is so much going on the screen. And in fact, it says skip tutorial, but I'm not even totally sure that I'm in a tutorial because to kind of channel what Knox might say, it is really unclear to me what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Like, let's just do let's do a kind of a rundown. I've got a timer up in the corner. Now, if I see a counting timer, that really makes me think something urgent is happening, but I don't know what it's timing. There's so much going on. Then I have $0. I also have 0 score. So I have like 2 different kind of score quantities. And I think I have more score style quantities because I have these counts: dancers, fighters, drinkers. I don't know what that means, and I'm apparently supposed to be tracking that. Skip tutorial. Okay. I think this is the tutorial, but notice this list of numbers is overlapping it. So I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to read that yet. Down here, I've got this next cue, which might mean something to do with this thing scrolling by, but I don't know yet. Then I have a bartender here, which is intriguing. It's very cute, but I don't know what that means. And then this is very confusing. Tutorial with this 2x2 grid of colored disco square kind of things. So my point is, everything here looks really nice, and I can imagine everything here having a clear purpose. The problem is seeing all of it at once when the game first starts is utterly bewildering. So what my advice is, whatever you want to do here, break it up and walk me through it one step at a time. It sounds like you're trying to say drag down to the monster to aim. Great, but start off the game by just showing me that. Have the monsters going by, have this slingshot, and have that tutorial message. And my advice would be nothing else, right? And then once I've done this, then you can say, okay, great, match the same color monster. So hit a pink monster above. So I guess I'm going after pink. I think I have to wait for pink monster to show up. I would consider this more of a kind of coral color, but let's go with pink. Close enough. Okay, and that's highlighted. Great. It shows me what to aim at. See if I can hit it. Okay, cool. Keep matching the same color for a combo. See, this is great. This tutorial is really, really good. The problem is it is literally being buried. Wow. That's awesome, by the way. This is amazing. So there's so much cool stuff in this game, Mimoko. You've done so much great stuff, but just please, you've got to break it up and add this stuff as I need it. So I think what you've got here to start off with is awesome, but we really got to break this up into steps. And that's basically it. Okay. I don't even know if Momoko's still here, but
Okay, I don't know if it's.
oh, she is.
Sorry. I'm listening and then I'm
Oh,
processing.
great.
I don't know if maybe it's a better idea to separate. I mean, I can make the level with the counter and with picking the monsters, and then the dance floor in
Yeah,
separate the
exactly.
scene.
Yeah,
Like,
I think something like that makes more sense.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know I could do that. I can throw it at the bar.
yeah.
You have so many
And
ideas.
you can add a DJ, a go-go lights, and bubble machine, and you can make a
Right, because it's about a party, right?
really visa party for monsters.
Yeah. So the idea is amazing. I love this idea of building up a monster party, but my honest feedback is that as a new player, I'm not getting that. I'm not understanding that.
Okay,
So,
it's too much complicated.
oops, yes, it is way too complicated. But I think the good news is, oh, this is this is adorable. The good news is everything you've got is great. You just need to find a better way to present it. So instead of worrying about creating your game or adding features, I think you've done plenty. Like even like the strings of lights, like there's so much cool stuff here. Just think in steps and how do you get the player to basically understand one new idea at a time. But the moment
Yeah.
you're throwing 3, 5, 7 ideas at me at once, you're just gonna confuse me. Even if they're all good ideas, it won't matter because everyone's gonna be confused.
Okay, I can make separate levels and introduce new items like a dance floor and and more extras.
Exactly.
I think
But not
I
exactly.
think you
from the
got a lot of
start.
extras in here already. I think the main thing that you need to focus on is conveying to the player the mechanics in the game, because I think that your bar is cool. It's a little small, I think. I think it's cool, but I think it's confusing on what's going on there. I know what's going on there because I've played your game quite a few times. And I also think the dance floor is a little confusing because you want them to make matches down there, but I don't think they really understand that they need to do that down there, or why, or what the benefit is from it. So I don't think you need to add anything else to your game. I think you really just need to focus on maybe simplifying or making sure the player completely understands what he's doing at each step of the mechanic. So shooting,
Okay.
dance floor, and bar. And once you make that very clear, I think the game will make a lot more sense as a whole.
Okay.
Exactly. But I love the vibe of this game. It's very original. It's very fun. If anyone remembers Fabi, she hasn't made a game in a while, but she made some of our early classics. This reminds me of her style, which is it's very much a compliment. So keep it up. I love it.
Thank
Yeah, it
you.
does remind
I
me of
will
Fabi's.
make simpler.
Yes, make it simpler. But you have excelente música y baile.
Gracias.
Okay. Let's see. I'm kind of going randomly, which is not ideal. I will make a promise to you, Astro Academy, good people, by next Astro Academy or by some random point in the future. One of those two times, we will have a better system. That is my passionate but utterly non-committal promise to you.
We got that on recording, by the way.
Yep, exactly. You have me on record saying we will solve this perfectly either by tomorrow or by someday. I can live up to that much.
Someday or
Um,
Sunday?
I'm going to definitely go with someday. Or if it is Sunday, it is Sunday, but who knows which Sunday? There are many, many Sundays remaining in the course of human history. Let's see. One option is, guys, help me out because you might be more organized than me, which is not saying much. We've got Boy Freddy, who is just making a name for himself here in the chat. He better be a student.
Well,
we've got Nazmul.
Ashif is next for Nova Strike.
Okay. Is that in the queue or is that in the chat? We're so disorganized.
This is in
guys. And
queue.
by
I'm going by queue. We also
Okay.
we did Ardian, then we did Momoko, and now
Yep.
we're on the Nova ship by Ashif, or as Ash if.
Alina should be here with the clueless memes. Ash if. All right, this is Nova Strike. Oh, of course, featuring Astrocade creators. This is gonna be this is a Mimoko heavy session today because if I recall, Mimoko is one of the bosses in this game. I love the look of this game. Again, there's the scanline effect. Every game these days. I love the kind of retro pixel art look, sort of pixel art. Ooh, look at this. Talk about juice. Look at how every time the player shoots, they bounce back a little bit, and you got the muzzle flash and the kind of drifting particles. Like, tell me that does not feel like a very satisfying shot being fired. I love that. That is so good. Neon Sector Wave 2. One thing, speaking of juice, I would love to see, I think I might have mentioned this last time, if you shoot a bad guy, an enemy, whatever, and they don't die, I think it's awesome when they kind of bounce back a little bit. Like you'll notice even the player's ship is getting kicked back by the force of this projectile. So imagine if you get hit by that projectile, you should definitely get pushed back. That would add a lot to a sense of, I think, cool physics and motion. But there's already so much great juice. I'm just nitpicking.
Just a suggestion, rather than having the wave on top, you can replace that with maybe like some kind of progress bar where at the end there's the
Ooh,
boss and
yeah.
you're navigating through the different sectors, and when
Yes.
it's full, the boss appears.
I love that idea. That's very cool. Now, to be fair, if you just want to go for like a real retro look, maybe you want to keep it like simple and text-based, but I think creatively I like Knox's idea. I think I might have suggested last time the game was too easy, and if so, it might be harder now. I mean, I gotta be honest, this level is, I think, way too easy. And it's not even that it's easy, it's just, I think it's too sparse. I think as a first impression, this game could be a little bit more exciting in the first 30 seconds because the details are so great, but the actual gameplay is a little bit too chilled out at first. I feel like I could almost play this without really paying attention to it, which is maybe too easy.
Are
We
the
talk a lot about
ships Are the ships faced the wrong direction?
Yeah,
Or are
I
they
mentioned that
actually?
last time, but even with all the juice, they're not flipping around, which tells me that the creator is doing that intentionally. I feel like by now they would have changed it. It's hard to say. It does look backwards to me too, though. I agree. So you all just saw this a second ago. I think the boss transition is awesome. It's overwhelming how vivid and bright it is. It's very cool. Let me look at this. This is insane. But insane is good. I love it. Okay, it gets me psyched up for the boss. Cool. Let's see if I can destroy Belittle.
Get him.
Yeah, let's get him. Belittle asked how I feel about attending all 3 seasons of Astro Academy, and this is how. I'm letting out my aggression. How dare you show up 3 times in a row, Belittle? All right. I've gotten revenge on Belittle. All done. Boss defeated. Ability unlocked. Neon Pulse.
Mega Man
Okay.
ship, eh?
So, I mean, this is kind of cool, but this is a lot of text. I wonder if there'd be a way to make this a little bit more visual. But I love the idea of unlocking something. So another thing we talk about in one of the lessons is progression. And I don't know if this comes up directly in the lesson, but a great way to make the game feel like the player is progressing or the player feel like they're progressing is that every time they either beat a boss or they reach some milestone, unlock something, give them like a new weapon or whatever. And this game is doing that very well. So I feel like the game is actually changing over time, which keeps me playing. Even though this game is very well done, if it were just the same level and the same enemies over and over, I will, of course, lose interest relatively soon. But because the game keeps changing, I just got this cool shield, I powered up. This kind of stuff keeps me going. So I've got some very, very minor juice notes. Nox had a cool idea about how to show progress. But overall, I think this game is in really good shape. Uh-oh, here comes Mimoko. Once again, dominating the meeting.
Wow. The Sailor Moon one. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is very Sailor Moon-like.
I like the mechanics. That looked pretty hard, though.
I got wrecked by Mimoko. Good job, Mimoko. You destroyed me. Yeah, this game's awesome. This
When you
game's
hit
really
retry, does it start you back over from square one on level 1? I really think you might want to not do that. Instead, I would
That's
probably
okay,
give
yep.
them. You got 3 extra lives. Players should
Mhm.
start out on the same level or boss fight when they die, because I probably would just put your game down and go somewhere else after I just beat 2 bosses and had to start all the way over from the beginning.
I think that is a great point. In fact, that is such a good point. We should probably include that in the lesson on progression, which is how do you deal with kind of consequences if the player dies. By the way, side note, if you guys are not like kind of observers of kind of the game industry, we try to keep up with this stuff for obvious reasons. There's been a real trend in like casual and hyper casual games over the last couple of years where it is becoming more and more common for games to literally be impossible to lose, right? Now, for a game like this that's about action and explosions, that's going too far. If it were impossible to die, this game would kind of lose all of its meaning. So I'm not really suggesting that for everybody. But there are kinds of games, imagine like a virtual pet game or a game where you're running like a cafe or something or a farming game, where there is just literally not even like a game over state. You can like play the game, you can progress, maybe you can pause, but you can never really lose. That's a totally valid choice. If you want to make a game that is just fun and makes the player feel good, you don't have to have serious consequences. And even in a game like this, Toxic's point I think is a good one. Like if I die, if the boss kills me, that should matter for sure, but maybe don't send me all the way back to the beginning of the game because it is a little bit frustrating and it kind of takes some of the fun out of the game. So I want to have just enough consequences where I care, but not such strict consequences that I get frustrated if I make a mistake. So, good point, Toxic. I agree. Alrighty. Let's see. Who should we do next? We just did.
We have Ardian
Let's do it.
How do you pronounce that? Ardianian? Okay, sorry, I don't mean to butcher your name.
All right. Let's see. This is Miracle Land. Ooh, this is cool looking.
It's like Tinkerbell with no wings.
Low poly Tinkerbell, which is awesome. Okay, sorry, let me restart that. I believe now, in hindsight, that may have been a loading screen because I couldn't do anything. Now, this is a beautiful loading screen, but this almost made me think there was something wrong with the game. Notice that it took a minute before anything happened. So if that is a loading screen or something, please add a progress bar. Also, same thing. I think language selects are great. It's awesome to cater to different users. In fact, another note for everybody, something we've been discussing a lot internally is localization. And we make Astrocade localized. Like the UI will have different languages. That's relatively easy to do. But the hard thing for us is to make all the games localized. So as creators, you may do yourself a favor by adding in language translation built into your game. It just opens your game up to more players. So this is great, and I recommend it. But again, if you want to offer this feature, I think the best way to do it is throw the flag as an icon in the corner. People know that they hit the flag that usually means language, but you can skip this as a screen in the beginning of the game. Wow, look at this. Welcome to Miracle Land. This enchanted land is slowly losing its magical power. The flowers are fading and the light grows dim with each passing day. Seek out the other fairies scattered across the meadow. They may hold the knowledge to save this realm. Ooh, look at this. Wow. Talk about juice and atmosphere. This game is loaded with it.
Oh, I'm hoping that when you add light to something, that you'll be able to see that from a distance. I think that's going to look really cool.
That would be cool. But before I even get to that, I want everyone to take a note on this. First of all, everyone should actually play this game because you'll notice that the way the player moves is fantastic. So default movement could be very linear, like I move exactly as long as the key is held down and I just start and stop abruptly. That's kind of the basic movement in any game. But what this creator has done, I don't know how intentional it was, but I'll treat it as if it were a deliberate choice. Because I'm a floating, flying fairy, like I shouldn't move like I'm like a robot on the ground. I should move like I'm a magical flying creature. And that is exactly what this feels like. I think you can even see just watching me move around. Look how smooth it is. There's like a bounce and there's like this slow ease and slowing down and speeding up. It's very organic. And it makes me just want to fly around. Like I don't even care about my objective yet. I just think it's fun to fly around. And I always try to make this point. If your game is fun to play with, just like a toy is fun to play with, before you even get to the objective, you're off to a great start. Because all games should be fun, even if you don't know what you're doing. There should be something fun about just moving around or exploring, and then you build an objective on top of that. But this game has this. I just want to fly around. I love the way it looks, and I love the way it feels. So this is an excellent first step. But let's see about actually playing the game. Okay. We got a problem here. Ooh. This is, needless to say, a problem. Please, I'm sure it's not intentional, but figure out this bug because you've got text that is unreadable, unfortunately. So I'm talking to the other fairies. It's a little hard to know what to do because of that issue. But I think for now, I'm just kind of meeting them. Let's see. I think I'm also supposed to collect these flowers. This looks so good, by the way. Like this also looks great. No, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, well, I probably spent enough time in this game already because I was just gawking over the movement and the look, but it was worth it because it's a great example. Check out this game. It's got tons of great examples of how to make a game look and feel. But as far as my kind of Astro Academy style feedback, the first thing I would like to see is please fix that bug so that when I talk to fairies, I can get my objectives more clearly. But you've got an excellent, excellent foundation. Slide the camera. I'm seeing now. How do I slide the camera? Oh, you know what? It says tap in order to continue. Maybe that wasn't a bug. But when it says tap in order to continue, my advice would be don't let me go on to the next thing if I haven't tapped to continue, because I didn't realize I could dismiss that. Let's try again. You have such a beautiful voice. Keep singing to the flowers at the altars. Song can awaken their power. Okay, move away to continue. All right, let's see. Oh, okay, now I'm getting it. So now it seems like I use this, and maybe I'll unmute. Now I'm using this, and I can sing to the flowers. Is that right? Ah, very, very cool. Okay, so something is definitely happening now. So they're minor bugs. My minor advice is that first thing that popped up that said tap to continue, I would make sure the player has closed that before anything else happens because it's easy to unintentionally overlap the text. And then the other thing is when that singing button popped up, I mean, it was pretty clear what to do, I guess, because it says sing to the flowers, music note. There might be some value in guiding the player and saying, tap this or something to sing. I don't know if you need it. It actually might be self-explanatory, so maybe that's for you to think about. But this is why playtesting is good, because I had some confusion that we have worked out, but if other players are confused in the way I was, then that is worth dealing with.
Some people are asking in chat, and actually I'm curious as well because I thought this was a pure 3JS game, but then B Little pointed out that the wings probably aren't 3JS. So I'm curious, are these little poly models? Where did you get them? Or is this all generated? Because those wings are exceptionally well done.
It's either just a template, or it could be what's called a spline geometry in 3JS, where this is essentially a two-dimensional curve that is then extruded into a surface. Sorry, I shouldn't be answering because I didn't make the game, but those would be my two guesses for it's definitely 3JS. The question is it generated purely by Astro or not, right?
Correct. Arden, can you shed some light on that, please? There's a few people want to know. Are these downloaded GLBs or GLTF files, or are you actually getting this result within AstroCade itself? No, he needs permission for Mike.
Yeah, we can let him on the stage.
There he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
That we
Yeah,
were
you
just
have to
asking.
slide the camera to see the another object.
Oh, okay. This somehow
Like-
was not working for me. Now it's working, but it wasn't working.
Huh.
By the way,
Go to
there's
the gemstone.
there's an echo.
The mission is give the colors of the fairy's wings to the gemstone. Look at the
Just
gemstone. You have to collect six color on it.
Do you have to talk to the fairies to collect them? I'm not sure. I understood.
Oh, the model.
By the way, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
my English
I think
was,
we have to mute you
uh,
for just a second because we got a lot of echo.
Yes. The model. What's the question?
Real quick, the models in the game, did you import them? Or are they created with AstroCode?
No, original from Astra.
Wow, okay, cool. That's amazing. Make a game that has echoes.
I forgot I was muted because I was trying to keep the echo down. Apologies. Yeah, no, the wings look great. This is really cool. My guess is these look like splines. It wouldn't shock me. Or it could just be an opacity kind of texture on a plane. Either way, looks great. This game looks beautiful. You've done a great job. I do think, though, just as a casual player, I'm distracted talking, but players are often distracted. The objective could be a little bit clearer. It looks so good. I love this little nighttime meadow you've created. And I love the idea of matching colors and all that. I would just make it a little bit clearer, like just clear on-screen text for my next goal, because if I'm not paying close attention, it's just a little bit easy to miss stuff. But you've done a really, really good job here. This is really, really cool. Okay, I've got time for maybe one more. I think we're going to do Boy Freddy. Weapon Balls Boss Battle. There's a title right there. Okay, my usual feedback. I think whatever options you've got here, you can save these to come later in the game. This is not the end of the world, but these are a lot of decisions for a new player to make that hasn't played before. But I'm just going to go with kind of default. I'm muting it, but I love the music. That's awesome. So first of all, I'm actually not totally clear on this. Am I in the game, or am I it said watch battle? Okay, so I guess it's an auto battle game where I'm supposed to sort of configure my player and then let them fight or something. Let's see what happens with 5X.
So it's kind of like Bakugan, is that what they're called?
The Beyblade things?
Oh, okay, yeah, Beyblades, my bad. That's how great I am in anime stuff.
Yeah,
Beyblades.
that's how old I am.
Let's do
Touché.
2 by 2 and...
It's actually based on a real YouTube series. It's actually based on a real YouTube series. There's like this guy called Earclax that made this weapon ball series, and there's like so many more balls.
Uh-huh.
Also, you can see the purple ball is called microphone. It's actually a custom ball I made and I wanted to add to the game because I could.
Okay. So the idea though is
But
the
like
game.
I can show you the whole concept of the ball like right here. Like wait, let me send an image in the lounge.
Okay. Um,
Apparently, I sent Astrocade this image and it did what it did.
okay. Cool. But to be clear, the purpose of this game is it's an auto battle game, right? Like I don't play, I watch it. Is that right?
Yes, it's more of a watch game.
Got it. Okay. And is there anything I can do as the player though to like set up the ball that I'm watching, or do I just pick one and watch?
It's just pick and watch for now.
Okay.
I did say for now.
Yeah, well, my advice would be because it's fun and auto battle games can be really cool. Is if I can control different things, if I can like give the ball weapons or different abilities, and then I can watch it, then it becomes very fun because it's like I set it up and then I watch how it plays. You know what I
Maybe
mean?
I can add like a controllable game mode.
Well, you could do that, but even if you don't want the player to control it, it could be something like you set up the ball in a certain way. Pick a color, pick a weapon, pick this, pick that, maybe pick its speed or power, and then just see how it performs when it plays against one automatically. You know?
Yep.
Cool. Nicely done. But yeah, other than that, I would, like I said, I would maybe simplify this first screen, or maybe, you know, if the whole point is to pick a game and watch it, maybe you can spell these out a little bit more because they're very tiny and it's just classic duel. I don't know. I feel like this could be a little bit more clearly.
Oh, there's also the boss game mode. The boss game mode is pretty like nice. You pick two balls and then a lot of them fight, and there's like one big one.
Yeah, this is cool. Oh, it's such a cool idea. I think you could maybe make it a little bit clearer for the first time user what they're doing because it took me a second to figure it out. But once I got it, I liked it. Toxic, what do you think? Nox, what do you think? Noxic, what do you think?
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of watching balls hurt each other. I understand the concept. I think.
I mean, when you put it like that,
it's unique. It's definitely unique. If you want to make it more interesting, make it more readable. Allow the player to kind of influence indirectly, like a simulation, what he wants to do, like an idle game. And I think already it's going to be much more fun to do, to play, or at least to watch. And eventually, you can add some stuff in the arenas to influence the outcome. You can add gambling. You can add anything that you want, really.
I think that this game has a player base to it. I think that there is people that actually like to sit and watch things just happen and do very minimal amount of work to get it to happen. I think it's kind of almost like a visual novel. You don't really have too much that you control. You're just basically watching and reading. So I do think that these kind of games can actually do well. It's not up my alley, but I've also made a few games that aren't up my alley as well that seem to do good. Just because you don't want to play it or wouldn't play it doesn't necessarily mean that a large chunk of people still, would want to play it. I think the game needs a little bit of juice. I think the menus are still kind of web pagey. Your UI at the top had a crap ton of information and text, and I think you could probably minimize pretty much all of that and clean up the playfield a little bit more. I think
Well
the
said.
assets maybe could be a little bit higher quality, but if that's the aesthetic that you're going for, then maybe just keep it that way.
Let's speed run a few. This is Nosmal's new game. Slide up and down to morph, match the jelly shape to the getaways. Tap to start.
Size scale, is that what this is?
I think so. So I think I have to match this box. Okay, so if I'm getting this right, then this is a great idea. This is very fun. But I have a couple suggestions. So I'm very thrown off by this kind of vegetable looking character because I keep thinking that that's me and I have to make the vegetable character fit through things, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like I am just the cube shape, which is fine. But my advice would be maybe that character should either not be there at all or should be somewhere else or something. because that confuses me a lot. But really, once you kind of factor that out, it becomes very clear. The next thought I have, though, is it feels a little bit slow. It's a really fun idea, and I think it's simple enough that most people could probably keep up with this with a little bit more speed. I mean, maybe start off super slow like this as the first experience, but I would suggest very, very quickly increasing the speed because I think even though I like this concept, I do find it a little bit too slow paced. Also, am I
Okay,
missing?
so yeah, you can speed up when the jelly have less friction. Like
Uh-huh.
if it's like now you can see if it has heights, it can go fast. But
Right.
if there is more friction, then it goes slow.
No,
So
that's a
you
great
have to
idea.
manage.
That's a great idea. I guess what I mean though is I would want everything to be just universally faster. So you can still have that difference in speed depending on shape. That's great. But I think you could just
Yeah.
add, hey, by the way, Z fighting, Toxic's word of the day today. That is something that I think speed the whole thing up, right? So they're still fast and they're still slow, but just fast can be faster and slow can be faster, and then you get the best of both. One thing though that also confuses me is I feel like I'm supposed to be able to move back and forth to like collect these gem things, but I can't. Is that right?
Yeah, you cannot right now.
Okay. So then, first of all, is there a need to collect things if like in other words, is it impossible not to collect them because they're always right in my path? Is that right?
Yeah, sometimes it's not necessary to collect them. Like you cannot collect everything, but the gem is necessary for like skins and things like that, like the shop.
But then I guess my point though is, should it be possible to move left and right so that I have to juggle collecting all the gems, but then
Okay,
also getting back to the city?
right now in this level you cannot, but I have added a power up where your jelly gets divided into 3 pieces, and then you can
Oh,
collect
cool.
everything.
I would
That
really
sounds-
like it if the character was actually the jelly squishy guy and you remove the block, and instead of squares and rectangles, he actually squished and he became taller and then kind of flattened as he got closer to the ground. And I would only
Hey,
use
that's
that one character instead of using both of them because to me it's really visually confusing.
Yeah, my idea for starting that, for showing that character was like the jelly is made of strawberry in this level. So that's why I was like showing that character. Maybe you're right. I shouldn't show that character.
Well, I think
Or
there's two ways to go here, and I like Toxic's idea too. The reason I said to stick with the cube is there's something very clear and very satisfying about the way that the cube perfectly matches those green guide cubes. Like I really like the fact that when I do this and I squeeze or stretch out, oh wow, that was cool. I didn't see that coming. I like the fact here. I'll just restart it to make this clear. I like that when I make the jelly, in this case, leaving it the correct size, but then in this case, making it taller, it perfectly lines up with those green cubes. That's really cool. But I also like Toxic's idea of like, it'd be a little bit more fun if the thing stretching out is this cute character instead of a box. So I have two suggestions. One is, I mean, it's totally valid to just get rid of the character altogether if that's your style. But I do like what Toxic is saying. So two other possible ideas is one is you don't have the cube at all. The character just squashes and stretches, and you can tell that it's the right shape because if it's a narrow passageway, you just stretch out the character, and that'll work. It may not be as precise because the character is not going to match the shape of the cube exactly. So another idea could be that maybe the character's floating inside the cube, almost like fruit suspended inside Jello. So then you can kind of have it both ways. It's just to me when they're separate, that's what's confusing. Does that make sense?
yeah, like if I use the strawberry or any character, like I can make the obstacles more fun. So
Sure.
like when it's grow or squeeze, I can make some animations. But like it's easier to manage the jelly instead of character. So yeah,
I think
I
so.
have to think about it. Like
Cool.
which way
This
I
is a
should
this
go.
is a really fun concept. I think if you add a little bit more, maybe a little bit more speed and maybe some extra features or whatever, then I think you'd be in good shape. By the way, this game reminds me. In fact, maybe I'll just pull it up. One of our top players' choice games right now. I'm a big fan of this one. It's this Slice Rush game. I don't know if it came up here, but you guys have probably all seen it. Slice Rush. Whoops. Slice Rush. Okay.
Wouldn't it be nice if we had a
This is a
search button
similar
on the
game.
page?
You know,
Sorry, guys.
why don't you build Astro game? How about that? I'm just kidding. No. You wouldn't believe how much we debate that internally. It's a much more contentious issue than you think. Anyway, wow, this is taking forever to load, and I don't know why. But the reason I like this game as an example is very similar, but look at all these just cool background visuals. So one thing I would suggest is maybe the next game or the next thing to add to your game is just some kind of scenery, because your game is great mechanically, but it looks a little bit blank. So when you're ready
Yeah,
for
the
it, don't
environment.
do it. Yeah, that's it. But you know that, right? So just stating the obvious, it might be kind of cool to add some background stuff. But I really like it. Color palette is good. I love you've chosen really good colors. So you've got a good style going.
So, like, if I fix those things, do you think it's a good game for a scale and gem, scale and size gem, or
Oh
should
yeah,
I?
absolutely. No, it's perfect. Yes, yeah, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good job. All right, I said speed running. I didn't quite do it. Let's try actually speed running. This is Bouncy Blobs. This game has no instruction, which I kind of like. It's kind of fun to figure it out. It looks like I move my red ball around and I bounce, and I guess I want to avoid these spikes, which, let's see, is relatively easy. I'm collecting kind of Sonic-style rings. Oops. And then I guess I just have to make my way through these obstacles, so it's kind of a platformer. Spring, I think. Is it a spring? Yes. Kind of hard to get that ring in the corner. Oh, there we go. I don't know if the spikes are hurting me yet. I feel like I've hit them a couple times and I don't think I've faced consequences. All right, so I've done a bit of a playthrough. Okay, cool. Vortex is the end. Maybe this isn't implemented yet. All right, so great concept. I love simple platformers. I'm always a fan of a thing where you just bounce or move around. You may not need much of a tutorial, but considering that this game is very, very open-ended, it might not be a bad idea when the game first starts, just have like an animated finger doing the, tap and drag or whatever, and then it goes away as soon as the user does something, but it might be a nice way to start it off. This game overall feels pretty good, but there are some definite issues. I feel like I don't think I can jump again until I'm done with the bouncing. The problem is that isn't obvious to the player, and so it just kind of feels like it doesn't consistently respond. I don't know if that limitation makes sense. I think as long as the player is on the ground, they should be able to jump, even if they still have some bouncing going on, because otherwise it just makes it feel unresponsive. It looks like the spikes aren't implemented yet. That's fine, but if these are hazards, maybe they're just grass and I'm misinterpreting them. If they're not a hazard, I would make them look less like spikes. But if they are, I would make them bigger because they're very, very tiny, and it's just going to be kind of frustrating that these little things can hurt me. But I get the impression this is in an early stage, so I expect all this to get better. That's about it. I think what's great about this is you do not need a lot of instruction. I love games that are simple because you don't have to weigh them down. I guess this just replays. So yeah, and then once you're ready, then the next thing I would add is you have some real opportunities for juice here, because if these rings rather are kind of my objective, collecting them, it should be a bigger deal when I collect one. Like, it could be the burst of particles, it could be the whole screen could be tinted, the thing could pop up saying, +1 that fades away. There's a lot of ways to make it feel like something special has happened. So just pick a couple of those standard effects or something more original if you want. Another way to do it is maybe you can have a ring icon up in the corner with my ring counter. Right now it looks like it says 9 out of 10, but if you put the ring next to it, then every time I collect one of the rings, it can fly up into the corner just to make it clearer that I'm collecting them. Little things like that can add a lot. Oh, I guess I can't move on to the next level until... Okay, that's another thing. I would make it clear that the vortex doesn't open until you've collected all the rings. My guess at first was the rings were just collectibles for points, but they're actually like a key that unlocks the gate, which is great, but I'd make that a little bit more clear. In fact, when the player gets 10 out of 10, maybe a message pops up saying vortex unlocked or something, even if you're not there yet, so they know the purpose. And then if I try to go into the vortex when it's not unlocked, you might maybe shake the screen or say, no entry or not all rings collected or something like that. Just basic feedback to the player. Oh, cool. And then I got level 2. Great. Yeah. So I think that's all good. I would just maybe think some of these basic some of these basic things can be made clearer to the player. Cool. Alex the rapper at full speed. Sorry, Mimoko. Please let me know if you want me to repeat anything. I'm always happy to. Okay, let's get a couple more in. I gotta run, but I'll try to get a couple more in. You know what, Knox? You're not a student. You are a teacher now, but let's check out your game. You sent it to me, and I played it, but I didn't get a chance to respond, so I will just respond here. Cosmic Hall. So right off the bat, what I love about this thumbnail is it is not clear what the genre is. This is like horror survival fishing or something, which is awesome. I love it when the thumbnail makes me think there's something special coming or something unusual. This thumbnail definitely does that. Okay, start hunt. Most people fish for food. You fish for legends. All right, let's go. I'm psyched up. Okay. So this is already beautiful looking, and it looks like it's like kind of psychedelic fishing, I guess. Let's think of like, so you've just taken an heroic dose of psilocybin and you walk down to the river, if there even is a river, and you start fishing. That's what this game is simulating. Tap to cast. Okay, cool. I've thrown my little Minecraft Pokeball out into the ocean. Uh-oh. Hold the button to raise the tension bar. Wait, hold the button, dummy. Okay. Steady, keep it there. Okay, cool. This reminds me of the fishing game we played a couple days ago that had similar mini games. This is very, very nice. Strike. Wait, I don't know what strike is. I guess I keep it steady, but okay, the strike thing wasn't.
Strike just means that he hit you.
Yeah, I'm fixing that bug. You can't click on the fist, but yeah, you can click on the red thing, red part. It's
Okay.
fine.
Oh, okay. I'll work on that next time. Okay. Let's see. Wait, can I? I don't know if any of this.
You should be able to. The top part, right at top part.
Oh, the top part?
No. Yeah, there.
Oh, there it goes. There.
I don't know why it did that bug today, so I have to fix it.
Got it.
It's a really cool idea.
Yeah, this is great. New entry discovered. This is awesome. Yeah, I think there's a couple little kinks to work out, but overall the idea is great and it's very satisfying.
I think the UI, your mini game kind of covers the fishing, and I like to see the fishing as it's happening. So maybe smaller or move it into a more
maybe because you got a lot of vertical space. Maybe move it a little bit lower. I don't know. Or I mean, this one I think is well positioned.
Yeah, I agree.
That tutorial one, yeah, it takes a little bit more space because of the text.
Sorry, I do not get strike. Strike is just the only one that doesn't make sense to me is strike. Where all these are self-explanatory.
You're basically punching the fish.
Okay, all right, yeah. I guess that explains why it wasn't super obvious. But
well, you are the striker.
And by the way, this is a little LLM extra text. Is that what I'm seeing?
No. My LLM game is something different.
Okay, they're pre-written. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love this. This is awesome. I guess the only question I have though is, does the crazy I hold this down? That's right. Some I tap, some I hold down. Okay. The question for me is all the crazy what's it called? All the crazy setting or set and setting, as it may be with pharmaceuticals grade medication, is that intentional? Because I feel like so far it actually is basically just a fishing game, even though the setting is all wild and crazy. Do you know what I mean?
It gets crazier.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. I do wonder though if maybe even for my first fish, something kind of supernatural should be happening. I mean, this is already kind of supernatural. The fish is flying around in crazy ways. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the fish can be a little more magical or something, because they seem like normal fish in a crazy, weird setting.
In the pause menu, you have level select. Then you can pick other things if you want to look at little later game.
Let's see. This one is trickier than the last one. But I guess that's good though. It's like some
How's
fish,
the audio in here?
some fish don't go down easy.
Saying that might help the atmosphere. I mean, that's epic.
I try to inspire myself from Dark Souls.
Nice.
Okay, so we get like the movie music when I'm trying to reel in the fish. That's awesome.
Tenseful. Tension.
This is phenomenal.
But you know what? You went from just fishing to fighting a boss by turning the sound on. Oh, gee.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that definitely changed the atmosphere, though.
that
It went
definitely
from boring
changed.
fishing to epic boss battle.
Wow. All right. Well, the sound design is incredible. I hope people have their audio on because it is worth it. Well, this is awesome. Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, a couple little things that weren't super clear to me, but overall, it plays really well. I love this idea of like take a common thing like fishing and then break it down into a fucking break it down into a couple simple mini games where I combined a few letters to say something NSFW, but I was basically clicking, tapping, and dragging. You can combine those into any number of sequences to simulate real things like baking something or fishing or gardening. This game is a great example of that. So check out Knox's Cosmic Hall for a really good role model to follow of like a fishing mini game. Really, really cool.
Your
All right,
lighthouse is cool.
I am so late, but I can't stop now. I got to keep going. Is Samson's game here? Because I saw them mentioning it in the chat. Wait, is it not here? Samson, where's your game? Ah, Growzilla. Okay, let's see. Let me grab this. All right. And I think this may be our big finish. This may be our final game of the day. Another great office hours, everyone. Thanks for sharing. Ooh, that was fun. Let me just restart this because look at this is a great little loading screen. Look at this. That's awesome. Okay, Growzilla. This game looks amazing so far. Nicely done so far, Samsung. Samsung?
Samsung.
Good job, Samsung. Pika is just always there to emphasize hilarious mistakes. All right. Walk into the building to smash it. Oh, this is cool. So it's like I have to keep crashing into stuff. I love this. This is awesome. This game has, I think it could have more, but it's already playing, it's playing the juice game already. Choose a mutation, tough. I think I like tail sweep. Wow, this is amazing. This is such a great game. Samsung and LG have done a great job on this game. So it's really simple. You just walk around, you collide with things to destroy them. As you can see, it looks good. It's got a really fun 3D look. It's very blocky. I love the blocky 3D look, by the way. So keep it up, guys. But what it's doing well is you've got a super simple game mechanic, right? Just walk around, do your thing. It's kind of hard to lose. I mentioned that earlier. This is an example of that kind of game. But the reason it's rewarding is because it just feels very satisfying. So every time your tail sweeps out or you walk into a building, there's like some shakes and there's some rubble and things collapse in a very visual way. So that makes a game that on paper is very simple feel like a much more memorable experience. My advice, honestly, Samson, would be consider ratcheting up the juice even further. Like maybe I want even more shaking and rattling and rumbling because that's kind of the main experience of this game. I think what you've done is a great start, but I think you could push it a little bit further. So really just take what you're doing and do even more of it. Oh, there's like scattering people. This is so cool. This is really, really good. When you see it, take regeneration, no refunds. That's Boy Freddy's suggestion. Kyber Survivor. This is coming up. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I thought this was a response to something else. Samsung, you're now a speaker. Oh, you were unmuted for a second.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's not echoey, right?
No, you sound good. A little bit of echo in the background, but it's fine.
Okay. All right. So, what was the question?
It wasn't really a question. I had a very minor suggestion. I think this game is great, by the way. It was basically that you've got some pretty good juice, some shake, and some rubble. And I think for a game like this, I would just recommend push it even further. because it
Yeah.
looks good. The gameplay is really simple. There's really not much to improve here. I just think you can go even further with the effects.
Sounds great. I can definitely do that. I can make it even more crazy effects, make it even more juicy.
Yeah, for sure. This is great. Well, good job, Xiaomi. I'm very impressed. You're one of my favorite cell phone manufacturers, and now you're making great games too.
I used to work at Samsung. Believe it or not,
Oh, okay.
that was my
So,
first job, head office at Samsung.
all right, perfect.
Yeah.
You're not at Xiaomi now by any chance, are you? Okay. Right. Well, thank you for sharing. Your game is awesome. You are a student, correct?
I am. I am a student. Yes.
Excellent. Well, you are a model to follow. Everyone, be more like Samsung. Don't be like LG. Thanks for sharing. This is awesome. No, Toxic. This is dangerous misinformation. I have a MacBook and I have as I've said, I have an iPhone 42 Pro Max Ultra Demon time travel model.
Yeah, but made by Samsung, though, huh?
Well, Samsung is just on the tip of my tongue for whatever reason. Boy, Freddy, I am not going to enable. Dangerous misinformation. Review the feed, identify the truth, decide if each post is valid. Okay. Octopus F3 for its misinformation. Obviously, Goldfish, 3-second memory, misinformation. Misinformation. This is all dangerous misinformation. Okay, its fate has been decided. Political. This is misinformation. This is actually also not true. Humans have more than 5 senses. We swallow 8 spiders a year in our sleep. It's actually 8 spiders a night, not a year. Cracking knuckles cost. Wait, is the score always 350? Because that would be hilarious. No, they can't. Yes, it does. Yes, he was. Okay, no, it's different. I love it. Great job. Keep the memes coming, Boy Freddy. All right, we've gone way over time, but we will be back tomorrow, and I will be checking in on the chat again today. I have some updates to share with you guys, and I need to. If anyone hasn't sent in your game, please send me a link to your game. We got to keep track. Next time around, we will have a better system for this. I promise, sort of, maybe. Between tomorrow and some point in the future, I guarantee it. And Toxic, as always, is just being a mensch among mensches, helping out with more feedback. Please take him up on that. He's great at it. Erica, I will do my best to get to you tomorrow, but we got to prioritize students. I think for the first time we actually did it, everyone. Thank you. And thank you, Noxic and Pika, for keeping me honest, keeping me on the students. That's the most important thing. But yes, please head over to the lounge. Toxic will set you straight. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
To the lounge.